almost forgot to talk about the most important thing when I'm on my way to competition going to the range. One, that's my purchase and acquisition license, so I'm a licensed owner. There's a background check you got to go through. There's a lot of paperwork, and there's an approval process and a checking of references. But as well, I got this big folder here full of very important papers. That's all my registration papers. Everything is kept in the one place. I carry my papers. I am an owner. I have my registration papers with me. Criminals, however, they don't have a POW. They don't have licenses. They sure don't have registration papers. And this gun ban is just leaving them unscathed. Targeting me instead. Let's talk about what's in the back. Well, the firearms, according to the law, have to be in the back, locked away, out of sight, out of mind. That's good. That's perfect. I can't imagine criminals doing that, though. I'm pretty sure drive around with loaded handguns. Not locked. As you can see, I'm taping this over multiple days. It takes a long time to get ready to go to range. This morning was actually half an hour. It wasn't the 15-20 minutes I originally preached it was. Now, there's definitely a hypocrisy behind the gun ban, especially behind the OIC, but behind the gun ban, what is it really designed to do? At its core concept, it's to save lives. Because if you want to save lives, then you would address yourselves to the biggest killers, where you can have the biggest impact. No, instead, it targets folks like me, my friends, licensed firearms owners. That's it. If you look at all violent crimes, last stat from 2016 was showing 381,000 violent offenses in Canada in 1 year. Now, out of those, there was 225 homicides by firearms. Now, if you crunch the numbers real quick, and I'm going to try to remember this, but it's something like 0.05%. So the gun ban is addressing itself to the 0.05%. No, wait, there's more. Because that 0.05% actually includes all gang-related shootings. So all shootings, no matter what, whether it was made by a license, whether it was made by gang members out in the streets of our major cities. 4 homicides caused by licensed firearms owners. Crunch the numbers again, that gives you a 0.0015%. Is that enough for you to spend, I don't know, I'm averaging about maybe 200 billions on? I'd like to see 200 billion be put to the biggest killers, where it's effective. There is a lot of people in Canada that are screaming for ban guns. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's the wrong approach. You saw what I did today to get ready to go to the range. If I'm heading to the range, well, I have to take the shortest route, according to the law. I'm taking the shortest route to go directly to my range. Man, I go straight to my range and I go straight back home, lock up my equipment. If we're really going for the biggest killers, well, we address gangs. No, wait, the biggest killers is like cigarettes and alcohol. I think it kills like 11,000 Canadians a year. I don't hear you guys hooting and hawing and protesting against that. See where the hypocrisy comes in, right? That, and it's a little ridiculous to ban an object. When the incel guy in Toronto mowed down 11 people with a vehicle, if we would have taken the same approach of banning the vehicle, wait, it just plain doesn't register, doesn't plain make any sense. That's because we don't blame the car for driving bad. We blame the individual. The gun ban arises from mass shootings, right, that have happened in Canada. Even though they're extremely rare, and I mean extremely rare. But again, a lot of the politics is being fueled by the not so rare incidents that are happening in the US. But again, split the US from us, we have a completely different set of laws and rules. Now that we're learning a whole lot more about the Nova Scotia mass killings, it was reported as the biggest mass shooting in Canadian history. Well, that's just plain wrong. The Canadian government in its history has shot a lot more people in particular singular incidents than that one. And two, well, it's just plain wrong because out of the 22 people that lost their lives in Nova Scotia, 9 of them lost their lives by fire. But we all wrap them up and say guns. This is politics. It's a political game. Without effect. Without efficiency. I'm thinking about the Polytechnic shooting and Dawson shooting. Other events that come and hit us home hard. How do we address these events efficiently? How do we make sure that we reduce the chances those things happen ever again? Now there's groups out there that represents action for those events. But again, they're misrepresenting their action. They're saying ban guns. If somebody wants to kill somebody, they're gonna find a way. It's gonna be a knife. It's gonna be a vehicle. It's gonna be explosives. It's gonna be a hammer. It's gonna be a shovel. It's gonna be any object. Any object can be turned into a weapon. But we don't blame those objects. Except guns. Guns are the only objects we'll blame. Too often I hear, oh, guns are dangerous. I don't know about you, but there's a few guns in the back right now, and they're kind of like not moving and stuff, and I don't feel threatened. See how ridiculous this sounds? It's not the gun that's dangerous, it's the person. So how about we start addressing the root cause of not just gun violence, violence. If we want to reduce gun violence, want to reduce mass shootings, mass murderers, violence in Canada, you have to address its root cause. And the root cause of the problems were clearly laid out when the Liberal government in their last term did engagement, did a research, and found some key findings pointing that, well, licensed firearms owners are clearly not the problem, and banning guns are not going to address this problem. But a multifaceted approach will. A multifaceted approach that addresses root causes of the problems of violence in Canada will be efficient. But that's too complicated. That's too hard. Ban guns. That's easy. Ban guns. That makes votes. Ban guns. That's a seller for 80% of Canadians. Won't work. To the same tune that a lot of people are screaming to defund the police nowadays, because that money should be invested in social programming, families, unemployment, at-risk youth, and at-risk communities, community support, mental health. Could you imagine if the money laid out for this gun ban would be put towards those root causes? Now it's not just gun crime that would go down. Gun crime, again, is very insignificant compared to violence in Canada. So we'd be addressing violence in gun crime as a whole, therefore efficiently reducing it. But that's a hard job. That's tough. And lastly is that, well, this gun ban was done by order in council. No democratic process. During the COVID-19 confinement. I mean, they could have done this in the last term. That's basically why they were elected, but they held it hostage. They held their gun ban promise hostage to get reelected again for votes. But no, they chose to do it during confinement as an OIC. You know why? It's because they're gonna get destroyed on this. It's inefficiency. It's complete waste of taxpayers' money for near zero result. The lies that were thrown in the media, the lies that were thrown by the PM and the MPs. Oh, we're wanting to take the guns off the streets, they said. Sorry, you guys saw what I do with my guns, right? They're not on the streets. This gun ban doesn't do anything to keep or remove guns from the streets. In fact, it misdirects and diverts important taxpayer money, important treasury, to do the opposite. You're probably wondering how much was actually put to guns and gangs and border initiatives to prevent weapons trafficking. Firearms that comes from the States represent 80% of gun-related crimes. 80% of firearms can be traced back to the States. So this is basically where we could put a lot of our money, where the issue really is, where we could do a lot of prevention. You want to know how much money they put in there? Guns and gangs, the border initiatives. 54 million over the next 5 years. Now contrast that to, let's take the same estimate as the long gun registry and how that ballooned up. Let's look at 2 billion. Let's contrast that. So 54 million over 5 years, divide that by 5 times 2 to represent the 2 years of the gun ban, the amnesty, and how much it's going to take. So that's about 21 million bucks. What does 21 million represent compared to the 2 billion? I think that's about 1% or 1.0 something percent. 1% is going to the problem, while 99% is being spent on folks like me who own millions of firearms in Canada. And by millions, I mean the estimates is at about 30 million. Licensed firearms owners owning about 30 million firearms in Canada without incident. I'm not going to deny there hasn't been any. There has been some. And despite what the media and the PM wants to make you believe, these events have been an extreme rarity. Crunch the numbers. Those are the stats. That's what science is. Do some math. It's an extreme rarity. So just getting to the range now. See that a few of my buddies already showed up. This is going to be fun. Good friends getting together, doing a little bit of practice and discussing, you know, the competition, how we can get better. This is going to be a fun day.